What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome back to another weekly nerdy news where every Monday we discuss the last week in nerddom. And over the last week there really wasn't all that crazy amount of news, but there was some interesting stuff that I saw, so might as well jump into it. And for any of my local Boston people, there was a devastating trade last week for the Boston Celtics where they got rid of my boy Jaylen Brown and they sent him to Philadelphia, which somehow feels more disrespectful, but either way they got rid of Brown and then we got Paul George out of that and some picks. But I don't know, the basketball world has been an uproar since last week, and it was really devastating, the entire mood in Boston last week because of this. But JB had this little post saying, "First and foremost, thank you to the Most High. Even in the midst of adversity, I'm here with gratitude. I'm still processing how this all went down. I'm excited and disappointed at the same time. I earned my respect from this city," meaning Boston. "I never asked for shortcuts or special treatment. I simply showed up every day, put my head down, and accepted every challenge," which is exactly what JB did. He was a phenomenal player. We should have never got rid of him. But he goes on and says, "The relationships I built here, the battles we fought together, the championship we brought to this city, and the connection I share with the fans, I'll carry on with me. Saying goodbye isn't easy when you've invested your heart into something. I'm big on respect, and actions speak louder than words. To the people of Boston, thank you. To the community I built here, I love you. And to all the shafters, we are locked in for life." I don't know what that last meant. Shifters? Oh yeah, because the energy about to shift in the building, that's what he said a couple years ago, and then we ended up winning a championship. But as one chapter closes, another begins. I'm excited for what's ahead and grateful for the opportunity to join Philadelphia. Every city has its own identity, its own passion, and its own expectation. I respect that. I'm looking forward to earning that respect the only way I know how, through the work. Philly, throw the ball up. Let's get it, you know? So JB seems to be in the right headspace, but I really don't think we should have ever separated my boys Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And Jason signed off on Instagram saying, "9 years, forever grateful for all that we accomplished together, for pushing me to be a better player, from first round exits to winning a chip together. I'm thankful for all of it. Nothing but love and respect for you as a player and as a person. Looking forward to see you attack this next chapter of your career and wishing nothing but the best for you. Continue to be special." Right? So it's weird. Like, as much as everyone always, like, since the day one of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, people have been trying to separate the Jays. And it just seems that after this year, it worked. And there's all drama with, like, the behind the scenes of it. Like, we didn't want to get rid of JB. JB didn't want to get traded. And it seems like maybe even Brad Stevens, the GM, didn't want to get rid of him. Like, it was more of like the owners of the team. And we recently sold the team to, like, this group called 6th Street or some bullshit. And yeah, no, I think there's some fraudulent shit going on behind the scenes for these fucking bigwig motherfuckers trying to fucking save millions of dollars for themselves instead of making a good basketball team, which is just fucking bullshit. Like, fuck the owners of the Boston Celtics at the current moment. You know, I'm so mad at the Celtics that I might not even watch basketball next year, but the NBA has switched up so much that I actually kind of want to see what these new teams are looking like next year, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, we'll check it out, but I'm real pissed about the Jaylen Brown trade. Any other Boston Celtics fans, sign off down below your thoughts about that trade. Fucking ridiculous. But moving on into my normal topics, I haven't talked sports in a long time, so anybody that didn't want to hear about that, I'm sorry. But getting into the normal topics that we talk about, video games, movies, and nerdy stuff, the PlayStation just recently announced that they are not going to be doing any more physical discs. So, you know, they're just going to be releasing games to you on their platform, which most people now don't go to the stores to buy the discs. I know me personally, I haven't bought a disc in a long time, even though I have the PlayStation with the disc drive, but I get that disc drive for being able to play DVDs, right? So I have my PlayStation in my room, and it's also acting as a DVD player sometimes for me to be able to watch movies on my PlayStation. You know what I mean? So, like, just dumb that this video game company and this like PlayStation, they're like, oh, we're not gonna have physical media games anymore, and just trying to save money or something. But it's really some bullshit, because that same, you know, video game platform, if you buy it just as a digital game, they can decide at any moment, oh, we're no longer carrying this game, and that money that you spent to buy that game, oh, it's no longer available. Bye. No refund, no nothing. Just take your game that you were once able to play and then just remove it off of your system to never be able to play again. And the most fucked up part about that is that they don't refund you the money for that. Like, listen, if I paid for something, this is no longer your property. I paid for it. It is my property. And the fact that you just get to decide that it gets to get taken off of the system whenever the fuck you feel like it is completely fucked up. And makes me want to just go get every physical media thing I can possibly get, because the world is just fucking retarded and doing dumbass shit like this. Like, what the fuck? But either way, PlayStation being stupid, and you know it's bad if Domino's, out of all companies, makes an official statement to fucking chirp back at the physical media of, you know, PlayStation. And it says, in response to the trends in the gaming industry, as of April 1st, 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizza and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Consumers will be able to download our full range of delicious pizza codes and, using the power of imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense. Fucking so stupid. Like, but it's still kind of funny that Domino's chirped back at PlayStation, and I just thought that was something funny that I saw last week. But comment below, do you think physical media should be sticking around? Like, they did this a couple years ago at Best Buy, like where they dropped all physical media, meaning movies and stuff, in the store, and they're just, you know, not doing it anymore. It's like, why? Why are there not DVDs and DVD extras and bloopers and all these things that used to be on DVDs back in the day? Just not even a thing anymore. Like, they could do those same things and put it on streaming and have it at the end of the movie with the bloopers and whatever and special features. They just don't do that anymore, and it's some complete bullshit. Like, I don't know why streaming has completely fucked everything into existence, but it's fucking, oh, it's such a terrible world we're living in right now, and it's just getting, like, I'm just getting a migraine thinking about it, you know what I mean? But then to try to distract myself from all the bullshit that's going on in the world, I'd be watching movies and trying to, you know, escape from my reality and enter this other one for 90 minutes to 2 hours or whatever. And, you know, when I was a kid, it was things like Jurassic Park that would do that, and I freaking love Jurassic Park, so I like dinosaurs in that sense. And there's this movie from J.J. Abrams called The End of Oak Street that we've been talking about over the last few months, and we've seen various different posters, but it seems now we have two little character posters with Anne Hathaway here, and she looks like just a mom, but she has a gun, and there looks like to be some type of dinosaur T-Rex looking thing coming around the backside of her house, so I hope she survives. But also, it looks like her husband in the movie is Ewan McGregor, friggin' Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there, dinosaur. And it looks like he's got a baseball bat and he's hopping a fence, and he looks like a fucking nerd with those white socks with the stripes. What year is it that they got taken from? Whatever. But it looks like there's a Stegosaurus behind Ewan McGregor there. So yeah, interesting little movie. That comes to theaters August 14th. Probably not a see in theaters movie for me. I'm not that excited about it. Plus, I don't really know what it's about. But when it comes out on streaming, I'll probably check that out for sure. But sliding over into some Star Wars stuff, and this little Star Wars poster here for Star Wars Visions presents The Ninth Jedi. Interesting. So, Star Wars Visions was like this category of Star Wars animation where they were releasing like shorts, and they were little one-episode shorts, and they were like anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes long. And they did another one of versions of these with like Star Wars Tales of the Jedi and Star Wars Tales of the Sith and Tales of the Empire, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, so Star Wars animation is really great, but they were doing some really, like, interesting animation with Star Wars Visions, where it would be like 10 episodes, but each episode would be not only a different story, but a different style of animation. And it seems like one of these shorts that they were doing ended up getting created into a full show by itself, but maybe it's like, you know, 4 episodes episodes, 3 episodes or something, I don't know. I'm not sure how many episodes there is, but it says all episodes of this will be dropping August 5th on Disney Plus and Hulu. And it's Star Wars Visions presents the 9th Jedi. And this poster here looks, you know, awfully mysterious with like this woman, and she's got a green lightsaber, and maybe there's like a red Sith eye in the background or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. But there's also this poster with some like Chinese lettering up top there, or maybe that's like Orbesh Star Wars lettering, but it looks more Chinese lettering to me. Not that I would be able to read it at all, but I'm assuming that says the 9th Jedi. That's pretty cool, so I'll probably be checking that out. But also things that I checked out over the last couple weeks was Supergirl over in the theaters, and apparently that just got announced today that Supergirl will be coming to digital July 28th. So some people are like, whoa, that's like crazy short amount of time. And yeah, maybe it's, you know, short amount of time, but if anything, I think that's smart. It's already wasn't doing well in the box office. That could be because they tried to get it to be they tried to market it for younger girls and like for kids, when really they should have probably tried to market that movie for adults and made it more gory. And like, you know, if you're gonna have Lobo behead somebody in the final scene, why not make that movie rated R, lean into it, and let people really fucking see the blood? And, you know, like, people would be into that. And clearly the little girls were not into this movie, so like they didn't make the money from the kids, you know. And Supergirl's not that well named a character, you know what I mean? Like, she's not a Spiderman, a Batman, a Wonder Woman, you know, a Superman, where, especially for DC, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, those are the big three. You know, sure, people know the name Supergirl, but she's not the most popular character. So them dropping Supergirl on digital at the end of July, I think is smart, because if they didn't make money in their first opening 2 weekends, because mostly they were competing against Minions vs. Monsters and Toy Story 5, you know, so if kids were gonna be around to go to Supergirl, they chose those other 2 movies for sure. But Supergirl coming out on digital, I think, is a smart move, because if it didn't do well in its first 2 weeks, it's definitely not going to do well in its like 5th and 6th the weekend in the theaters, when it's competing against The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. So yeah, that's a very smart move to have that out on the digital to be able to watch at home. And I think once that comes to streaming, that movie's going to do much better than people think. You know, I just think in the world we live in today, with like the 45-day theatrical window, sometimes people are just like, yeah, I can wait. You know, like, not everything is going to be like the Obsession movie that, you know, came out in 2025 and it just last weekend came out on digital. And we'll talk about that towards the end of today's episode, just because I want to talk about what I've been watching recently. But the Obsession movie was unbelievable. Really scary, but fucked, but also great. But for Supergirl here, we have this behind the scenes photo of Lobo, and Lobo just is so fucking sick in this one shot, with all the smoke bellowing around him, and his outfit, the chains hanging off of him, the chains hooked onto his belt, but it also connects up to his gloves, his gut hook, his friggin' long hair, his painted abs, his friggin' grenade for a necklace, his like skull, kneecap, his spikes all over his body, you know, on his gloves, on his boots, on his space hog, you know, like, oh god, Jason Momoa is so good as Lobo. And at the very least, even if you didn't like Supergirl, if you say you didn't like Lobo in that film, you're fucking crazy, because he was the best part of that film for sure. You know, he shows up and he's just like, are you calling me a liar? And he goes, no. And he goes, well, I am, but not about this. You know, like, and Jason Momoa has said that he would be down to play Lobo in a live action film, but it must be rated R if they're going to do it at all. They gotta do it right. But I don't know if they'll jump right to a Lobo film for himself. I think they'll have Lobo do, you know, cameo appearances, and he'll show up in Man of Tomorrow, he'll show up in Peacemaker Season 3, you know, like, he'll pop in various different places, especially if the movie is cosmic, you know, like he could potentially show up in Lanterns, you know, if they're going to another galaxy. What says they don't bump into Lobo? You know, they could. You know, I think Jason Momoa would be down to play this character whenever the fuck he needs to, you know. And I feel like it's also a missed opportunity if they had him suited up in all of this makeup and this clothing and whatnot, and then they had him just film Supergirl. Like, if he's already dressed as the character, why not have him slide over to the other sets and make him do a couple cameos? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would have just been smart. But Lobo's awesome, and Jason Momoa is super cool, but everybody knows that. So let's slide over into some Marvel stuff, and we were just talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and there's this new poster here with this like strange looking like why would he go I don't know, but still a pretty damn good looking poster with the two hands and the whipping hands with the organic webbing coming out, and you can start to see that organic webbing a bit more now, and it looks better honestly than the old stuff. But you know, I don't know if I ever actually looked at the web fluid webs like this close and up close and personal with this high def of detail. But the spider suit looks to have a bunch of cuts all over it, maybe like a battle damage suit, and it looks like he's in prison with the prison bars behind him. But I don't know if this is a fan-made poster or a legit poster, but either way, July 31st this film's coming to theaters. I already have tickets to go see it opening day Thursday, and then that Sunday or Saturday with my buddy, with my roommate here, because he can't go during weeknights because he's a sleepy baby and he needs to get rest for work. Fucking loser. But Tom Holland, John Bernthal, Zendaya, Mark Ruffalo, and Sadie Sink, like, I don't know, man. And Jacob Batalon, can't forget about Ned. But, you know, I'm sure there's going to be other people in this movie. Michael Mando, you know, we got Scorpion, Tombstone's in there, possibly the Jackal, right? Like, there's just so many extra villains. Tarantula, Boomerang, Ramrod. You know, like, there's just villains in here that maybe will be quick little montage, they're just getting caught type of things. But the fact that they're in them at all, just as little cameos, is awesome. And just, like, using the villains of the Spider-Man world. And it, like, just flushes out the world to make it feel like there's actual people that are living here, right? Like if something goes wrong in New York and Daredevil doesn't mention it and the Thunderbolts don't mention it, you know, like it just feels strange that like they have projects and big things going on in New York like Thunderbolts, and then in these other projects in New York they just pretend nothing happened, they never mention it. It's like, come on, that would be pretty big, they'd mention that. But we also have this other shot that we've seen from the trailer where Spider-Man is like up on the ceiling of the prison cell or wherever he's at, and he does like a corkscrew and does like a web twirling tornado with the organic webbing and like catches all like the hand people around him. But for some reason he has his mask off in this scene, which is weird, and he's got like scratches on his face, so somebody's hurt him. And you know, he doesn't look very happy in this scene either. His face looks very stern, very serious, but those organic webbing, right, like coming out of either wrist, one wrist it looks like it's just fucking spewing out of that shit, but on the wrist to the left, the left strand I'm looking at, it looks a lot like Toby's webbing and Toby's organic webbing. So yeah, I'm super curious to see not only why and how Tom Holland's Spider-Man has organic webbing now, but how he uses it and how it's different, you know, like is organic webbing better than the fucking web fluid? Maybe, you know, and what else does he get from these organic powers? Is he going to turn into Man Spider? Or is he gonna grow 8 arms, you know? Or is it not that, and is it something else? Is it because of the spell from the last movie and shit's just still going wrong and he's getting affected on a molecular level from his shit? You know, is he really just going through spider puberty, and is that unrelated from the past movies? I'm really not sure, but I am fascinated to see Spider-Man Brand New Day, and like Hulk's gonna be in it going crazy, Punisher. And then Sadie Sink potentially beating Jean Grey, but we have no idea who she's actually playing, and we're less than a month out at this point to the movie. Just like the big old mysteries and lots of questions from this movie. And I think Dustin Daniel Cretton, the guy who did Shang-Chi, is just going to absolutely kill it. So I just can't wait to see this. You know, I think it's going to be absolutely tremendous. But speaking of tremendous, there's also some behind-the-scenes spoiler looks. If you do not want to see this, avoid Twitter and avoid New York, because Daredevil Born Again Season 3 is filming in New York, and they're out on the streets, and there's friggin' Getty's images of the super suits just walking down the street, and it doesn't even look like they're trying to hide it, right? There's no like capes, there's no like somebody in front of them trying to block them. It looks like they're just posing for the paparazzi at this point, and they're in like a hero shot with Bullseye in his comic book accurate costume with the white Deadpool eyes, with the white Bullseye bullseye logo on the head, also the bullseye logo like around his shoulders and onto his chest, the bullseye logo on the back of his gloves. So it seems like Bullseye has truly become the vigilante Bullseye, and he's not just Poindexter anymore. So maybe this is from working with Mr. Charles that we saw last year, but either way, like, we last saw him taking off, going somewhere. What made him come back to New York? Like, what is going on in New York? Very interesting. And also, last time we saw Matt, he was in jail. So how is he out of jail? 1. 2, he no longer has his beard anymore, and he's back in his Daredevil suit, but it's a new Daredevil suit with black, a new custom DD red logo on his chest that's not just spray painted, and he has like red trim on the outer side of his suit as well, and like black and red trim on the helmet. Maybe the helmet's like carbon fiber, but also now confirming that Elektra's coming back from the Daredevil series as well. Like, just crazy stuff going on there in that photo. But then this photo, they showed just Charlie Cox just chilling in a all red Daredevil suit. So what is Daredevil Born Again Season 3 doing? They're breaking him out of prison. They're friggin' gonna show him in a black suit, and then now in an all red suit? If this is like the true red Daredevil costume with the red DD on the chest, almost like the red, you know, Ben Affleck Daredevil suit that we saw from his 2004 Daredevil movie. And I don't know, I think this all red suit looks even better than the season 1 all red suit, and I hope it has the DD on the chest. And like, just chilling, just sitting there on set, just sitting against a railing, just being like, yeah, I'm getting ready to shoot his next scene. I don't know what's going on, but they need to do a better job of hiding that shit from New York. And if you didn't want to see spoilers, Daredevil Born Again, I'm so sorry, but that looked awesome. And like, as much as that's a spoiler, seeing that he has those 2 new suits and that Bullseye's going to be in his suit and Elektra's going to be in his suit, it's still all out of context, right? So yeah, it's a spoiler that I know that it's going to happen now, but in a year, hopefully I forget all about that. And either way, once I see it in context, that's when it really hits for me, you know, when it's actually out. Seeing spoilers like this is like, spoiler, yeah, but it's also just more excitement than anything. Like, ooh, they're cooking right now. I can't wait to see that in March of next year, even though that's months away. But speaking of months away, we have Avengers Doomsday coming up at the end of this year, and we still haven't gotten a full look at Robert Downey Jr. in the Doctor Doom costume quite yet. But we have this like one image that they keep showing of him, and apparently Lego took that image and ran with it because they have a Doctor Doom bust that they're going to be releasing with Avengers Doomsday. And it doesn't look that bad as like an actual set. Maybe the mask looks a little weird, but the little picture on the box is like the one picture that we've seen at like Comic-Con and stuff of like what Doctor Doom will look like. And, you know, we don't even know if that's like a full confirmation yet or if that's like concept art. But if Doctor Doom does look like that, I'd be okay with it. But whatever it is, I need the explanation of who Robert Downey Jr. is and why is it Robert Downey Jr. under that mask. And if they don't explain that, I'll be pissed, you know? But I think they're cooking right now, and the reason that they haven't released that trailer for Avengers Doomsday yet, and they haven't released anything yet, and they're keeping it real hush-hush about Avengers Doomsday, is because I think they have the goods, and they're trying to just hold it as long as possible so that it doesn't get spoiled or out there into the ether. And like, some things are, but they haven't confirmed nor denied, so it's just kind of like, yeah, we're just gonna let that wash away, and we're not gonna mention it or acknowledge it, and then you'll find out when it hits theaters in December. You know, like, how crazy would it be if they just like drop Avengers Doomsday in December without putting out the trailer? Like, wouldn't that be insane? Like, they need to do at least one trailer, and I'm thinking maybe that trailer comes out with Odyssey, you know, that would be smart. But if not the Odyssey, maybe it comes out before Spider-Man Brand New Day, or hell, maybe they do the same thing they did with Spider-Man No Way Home and they tacked the Doctor Doom in the Multiverse of Madness trailer as a post-credit scene of that movie. Maybe the post-credit scene of Brand New Day is the trailer for Doomsday. You know, maybe I wouldn't put that past them. Although I would rather see a scene than the trailer, it would still be pretty cool at the end of Spider-Man to be sitting there and all of a sudden we're like, oh, Avengers Doomsday trailer, what? Right? Like, but then that would make us forget all about Spider-Man that we just saw. Or it would hype us up that Spider-Man's going to be in Doomsday. I don't know. I certainly hope so either way. But just to end out today's show with a little what you've been watching over the last week, I rented Obsession off of Amazon Prime Video, and boy oh boy, I'm not a horror movie type of guy, but that movie was incredibly well done. A very young cast. What the Michael Johnston, the kid who plays Bear, who stars in the movie, is voicing Nathan Summers in X-Men 97, so that's kind of a small little world type of thing, and I like that I have that little connection, because I'm also watching and breaking down X-Men 97 right now, and breakdowns for episode 4 will be out on Wednesday or Thursday, but either way, that comes out this week on Wednesday. New episodes for that, and House of the Dragon episode 3 of season 3 came out last night, so a breakdown for that will be coming out later today. I'll be filming that right as soon as I get done with this. And I also started Spider-Man Noir, so breakdown for that should be coming later this week at some point as well, because that has actually been really good, surprisingly, you know, because I haven't heard anybody actually watching Spider Noir, but, you know, actually checking it out. If you're a fan of Nick Cage, I really liked it, you know. So I'd love to hear your thoughts though about Spider Noir, Obsession, if you've seen it, or any of the other topics we talked about today. Friggin' Jaylen Brown getting traded, physical media disappearing, Star Wars Visions, Lobo, Supergirl, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Daredevil Born Again Season 3, Legos, you know. Any of these topics we talked about today, if you'd like to chat more with me, you can drop those comments down in the comment section below, or you can message me on my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. But once again, my name is Big Cam, and if you would like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss future Comically Boston weekly nerdy news podcasts every Monday, and you get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name is Big Cam, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next video. Peace!